Alright, hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and Game 3 in a series between IMMvp and OldSchool here on Shattered Temple. Now, so far it has been IMMvp showing his Terran dominance. Such a great player, very solid, cold, calculating play, never just practicing those build orders, and it really shows in these mirror matches where IMMvp has just been maybe 5 to 10 seconds ahead every step of the way. OldSchool spawning as the red Terran player over here at the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile, IMMvp spawning as the blue Terran player here at the 3 o'clock position. Very happy to see that it is red versus blue, and OldSchool and IMMvp are on the top in the right locations. This is still patch 1360, and we'll see what's going to go down. Now, I'm not 100% sure about this, but it almost feels like after they announced patch 140 and what was going to be changing to Blue Flame Hellions, a lot of the players started figuring out and already developing new strategies in Terran versus Terran that don't rely on the BFH. So already happy to see that, even though that this isn't a patch 1.3, not a patch 1.40 so far in this Terran mirror match, there hasn't really been any true changes. And the barracks should normally take an additional 5 seconds to build, but in a Terran versus Terran mirror match, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. And wow, I can't speak right now for some reason. Alright, IMMvp does have a refinery up. Meanwhile, OldSchool this time around not going for the early refinery. So interestingly, he may be going for that fast command center, and this might be a very interesting proposition, as if he's able to get that fast command center, he'll have the better long-term run, or the ability to transition into the mid game much more easily, as we saw MVP do in game 1 of the series. However, if MVP does try to execute his own 1-1-1 build, the key question will be whether or not he's going to be able to punish OldSchool for trying to go gasless and not tech that long. A Marine is currently being trained. This SCV most likely will be building a command center in just a moment. The command center most likely will be built over here and then landing here in just a moment, as a second Marine also being added. You can see Marines are being added as well. Both players have not done any true scouting at all, as both players have just been mining away with those SCVs. You can see double gas now coming in from OldSchool. So OldSchool is looking to try to catch up in his gas and perhaps get a factory or even a starport up in just a moment. You can see MVP, it looks like MVP should be able to add on a tech lab in just a moment. Not quite sure why he's not doing that yet, as he does have a fair amount of gas, and he did go into double refinery. So at double refinery, he is definitely going for that, going for those Banshees, and also now training Hellions. So Hellions from the factory, letting the barracks build the tech lab, and these Banshees will be coming in just a few seconds, and a lot of damage could be had in just a few moments. Starport gonna go ahead and land in just a second here. MVP definitely needs a little bit more minerals as well. He is currently also supply block, gonna start that cloaking research first, and then the supply depot may complete, and yes, he will be able to start that Banshee in just a second. There you go, and in 60 seconds he will have a Banshee, and in 2 minutes he will have a cloaked Banshee for his opponent to deal with. OldSchool now going into that factory. He is getting that second orbital command, which is definitely going to help him. And getting that second orbital command will help a lot, as an SCV now attempting to run away from this Hellion. However, the Hellion will be able to get 3 shots off, and the Marine now attempting to fire back against that one particular Hellion there. The Marine's going to be able to shoo it off, as the Hellion not quite sure what to expect from his opponent. He did spot the orbital command though, so that is huge. Spotting the orbital command, he knows that his opponent doesn't have nearly as much tech. This one Banshee is going to look to deal a lot of damage. Perhaps the second Banshee could come in from the far side as well and eat into all of the energy. Orbital command has just called in another mule, so that is not going to be good news. This orbital command about 20 seconds away from being able to do a scanner sweep, and the key question will be whether or not MVP waits until the cloaking is done before he starts this pressure. If he does wait until the cloaking is done, it will allow OldSchool to, or it will indicate to OldSchool to save that scanner sweep, as now the SCVs are getting destroyed. 1 SCV down, 2 SCVs down, 3 SCVs down already, as the damage is starting to be racked up, and now damage being dealt to Marines as well, doing a little bit of that turnaround and firing, and now able to fire from that high ground, getting even more damage. A missile turret is now being added, but that is just a fresh, easy target. In comes a Marine. The Marines are now getting some damage onto that Banshee, down to 8 hit points too, and there it goes. But a fresh Banshee now being added, as well as a Viking is in the air. Most likely we will see that blue flame tech complete in just a moment. And now what is going to be happening here, as the Hellion now taking a lot of damage. This is just a very bad day there, as you can see that we can have a starport landing in just a moment. The Vikings and the Marines getting off some quick damage, but no, unable to shoot it down, as the Banshee now outside of combat range. A Raven now being added, but too little too late, as blue flame Hellions may be added as well. You can see that there is almost enough energy on that one orbital command. So as soon as that orbital command has enough energy, this Banshee harassment will be nullified. But the Banshee is still racking up even more kills, and finally it will be destroyed. There it goes, and I think it ran out of energy anyways. Orbital command down over here. It looks as though, yes, he did call in a mule, now mining away at one rich mineral field. SCVs and Marines attempting to take it down for himself, as a Raven will now be added to this army, and now will be able to spot those cloaked Banshees very easily. One Viking now moving back. He does not see this additional orbital command that MVP has already set up. MVP now building a command center here at the natural expansion, which is very smart. By MVP doing this, it forces OldSchool, or OldSchool is going to think that there isn't another expansion already up. And because he doesn't think another expansion is already up, he's not going to look for or try to scanner sweep this gold mineral location at all. Now, another reactor has been added. SCVs being transferred to the natural expansion down over here. One Raven, one Viking in the air. Blue Flame Hellions now look to deal some damage, and now completely destroy one unit there. There are a lot of Marines and Blue Flame Hellions, and both sides going to try to battle it out. And oh, MVP getting the superior end of that battle, as those Hellions are now chasing against other Hellions. The Hellions catching up and now dealing even more damage. In drops an auto turret. The auto turret able to get some damage, but more importantly, absorb some damage and allow for these SCVs to be repaired. Vikings have been brought over from the main base, or sorry, from the air to the ground mode, but in comes the army now. This is not going to be good, as the Hellions are backing off. SCVs are going to get toasted as well, as that was not a pretty sight at all. More SCVs need to come back over to repair. This Viking needs to get in position. He needs to try to stand in the Blue Flame Hellions fire, knowing that he's not very vulnerable to that. MVP also getting some SC or supply depots to build a nice wall here, so no Blue Flame Hellion harassment at all. So Blue Flame Hellions, I do not believe, can squeeze through that location. And because of that, MVP has essentially walled off this and knows that there's not going to be that much pressure or harassment at all. Now MVP looking very, very pretty at this stage. A decent 1,000 resource advantage over his opponent. Natural expansion at the 3 o'clock location, double refinery also being brought in as well. We'll see what's going to be going down, as we are now adding a lot more Hellions here. OldSchool double training Hellions off of 2 reactor factories, now finally deciding to give it a swap, as now we may be getting some siege tanks and also some air units as well. It looks like that barracks, it will be landing here. Another factory will be grabbing another tech lab, so it looks like it will be a lot of siege tanks with siege tech. And will it be enough? MVP currently sitting on 4 siege tanks. Meanwhile, you can see that OldSchool sitting on 2 mules. Those 2 mules are going to be important, but how are they going to stop this army of Hellions? A wall of auto turrets may do something, but those Hellions move so quickly that they may be able to sneak by just in time. 14 Hellions here against, 17 Hellions here. Some of these Hellions are in the red, but with so much splash damage, it doesn't really matter. And oh, MVP on the defensive end, able to win that battle because his units were already stationary. Old School just taking a beating and really lost a lot in that engagement there. You can see 1,400 resource difference and 14 Hellions. Yeah, that's 1,400 resources. That would have been a huge difference in this upcoming battle. 6 Vikings plus 1 Banshee, the perfect composition for a Terran versus Terran mirror match, as the Banshees, as the Vikings finish off the other Vikings, and then that one Banshee can take down any... Oh, in comes a point defense drone. Another point defense drone coming in as well. Is there going to be enough? 1 point defense drone has been destroyed. Another point defense drone will get destroyed in just a moment. Not enough siege tanks. Not enough Vikings. And now with 1 cloaked Banshee in position, more Vikings coming in. And this Banshee just getting in some free hits as the Hellions are now pushing back. The siege tanks need to siege up. 1 Viking is going to get destroyed. Another Viking going to get destroyed. The siege tanks have not sieged at all. And there is the army of Hellions and siege tanks to bring it in from the rear and take the victory. So IMMvp schooling Old School in this 3-game series. Also doing a triple expand off of, even though he's already up on bases. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this, best of 5 series 3-game set between Old School and IMMvp.